Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade, this is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner, joined as always by Corey Tackman. Corey, we got a lot to talk about, including state softball updates and just kind of putting a bow on things from our local perspective. We also are going to talk section baseball as that's wrapped up in sections 8AA, 6AA, wrapping up soon, 6A, 5A, all that good stuff. We have one team going to the state tournament in our listening area. We'll kind of set the stage for that as well in today's show. But first, let's talk about the good folks at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, because, Corey, it's a pretty special night.
Pretty special night on a Thursday night. Stop on in and enjoy all-you-can-eat wings on the buffet. Thursday night, wing night at Pizza Ranch. A variety of wings available and all your regular buffet favorites as well. By the way, if you want to learn more, you can visit their online website. You can obviously check out their social media pages, Pizza Ranch, FunZone Arcade in Wadena. But we were discussing here. I mean, it's the I can never remember, is it hot honey or honey hot wings? I can never remember the wording, but man, those wings are just absolutely delicious. So if you want to go and have some wings on behalf of me, I will be managing a garage sale this evening, so I don't think it's going to happen for me. But
you could order it on the app and then run it out to you.
That's also true. Bring me, when you visit my garage sale today, bring me some wings from Pizza Ranch. Thank you. The Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade wing night tonight, downtown Wadena.
All right, Corey, let's get an update here, talking a little bit about the section baseball playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me?
And, of course, state softball. So let's start with the state softball here as we wrapped up our coverage yesterday. Sebeka Trojans were the 8th seed. They began things taking on United South Central, the Rebels. They lost that game 11-0 in 5 innings. They then took on the Southland Rebels. If those two schools didn't sound just close enough, I struggled with it all weekend. And the teams played yesterday. Sebeka lost 5-3, and their season came to a close. Looked like things were going to go well for the Trojans right away. Madison Funk, the freshman, led off the game with a triple. Lisney brought her home on a sacrifice fly. There were some other runs that came later in the game as the Trojans scored a couple in the top of the 7th inning. They got the tying run on base, but just couldn't quite bring them home. So their season comes to a close in the state consolation semifinals. And then the New York Mills Eagles were the champions of 6A. They were the 7 seed. They got a rematch with Red Lake Falls, and they lost earlier in the season. They played them tough. It was 0-0 through 5.5 innings. And then a couple runs came in on a bases loaded single from Red Lake Falls, and then a towering home run to deep left center field, scored the other 3 runs, and then all of a sudden it was 5-0. And New York Mills, despite the fact that they had runners on base almost every inning, just couldn't quite get that big hit to get themselves on the scoreboard. And that was kind of the story of the state tournament for New York Mills, Corey, is that they had runners on base. They did the things they needed to do up until the point of just getting that hit to get them home. It's in football. You got yourself into the red zone, but you just couldn't quite convert on 4th and goal, and it kind of ends up all for naught. So in that run, the first game they lose 5-0. And then the second game, they play the Barnum Bombers, which is another team that the Eagles had played earlier in the season as well. So 2 rematches in the state tournament. You don't quite see that for a team happen very often. And that one, again, a first inning, 3 runs end up coming around to score, and that pretty much was the game. Barnum would tack on a couple more. Eagles would eventually get a run, but they lose that one 5-1, and then their tournament run comes to an end. And overall, just kind of leaving, I think the number was somewhere around 15 runners left on base in those 2 games for the Eagles. And they had their opportunities, had their base runners, just couldn't quite find a way to get that situational hit to move the runner up, to even when the runner gets moved up to get them home. I mean, they put themselves in the right positions and just couldn't finish the play. You know, it's in basketball. You get yourself open, you get yourself the shot, you just can't quite make the shot. So they were, you know, the scoreboard will think that those games weren't as close as they were. The Eagles gave themselves pretty good chances to compete in both of those. The Trojans gave themselves, especially in that consolation semifinal, a good chance to be in it. And at the end of the day, that's really when you get down to the state tournament as a lower seed. Sometimes you're West Lutheran and you're the 6th seed and you're playing in the state championship game tomorrow. And sometimes you're the 7 or 8 seed and games go to chalk and you end up playing 2 and going home. But just to be down at that state tournament, the atmosphere, and get to play those games and get to be a section champion, first of all, and just the opportunity to be a top 8 team in Minnesota at the end of the day is a pretty cool thing. So congrats to the Sebeka Trojans and the New York Mills Eagles on some great seasons. And for those seniors that played their final games, congrats to them as well on their careers. And Corey, this just gives us a good opportunity to talk about state softball. Man, is that fun down in Mankato.
It's one of the great tournaments. It's kind of like we had spent some time talking about it, but all these tournaments are like, you know, you combine just vibes and competitiveness and I don't know whatever other factor you want to, just like seriousness. And the softball tournament has like the best vibes of all tournaments. It's just like this perfect combination of it's very, very serious, but the energy in there is really good because it's a bunch of high school girls all rooting for each other. And then it's this fourplex of fields, and you just get to spend an afternoon at the ballpark. Kind of it
usually a beautiful day in Mankato. Like, yeah.
This year there were no tornado sirens at state softball. There's almost always
technically because it was the first Wednesday of the month.
That doesn't count. So but it was a really neat. State softball is awesome. It's one of my favorite tournaments. Can I quiz you on some stuff?
Go for it.
In the Class A tournament, United South Central is the top team.
Yep.
They're playing in the Class A championship.
Yes.
Do you know where United South Central is?
Well, I'm going to guess it's south.
Wow.
I'm going to guess it's central. I don't know the towns, but I'm going to say it's like, I don't know. I'm going to say it's like just a little bit like within an hour west of New Ulm. Is that fair?
It is. I mean, that's a fair guess. It is incorrect.
Okay.
So it is a town called Wells.
Okay.
And it is effectively right between Blue Earth and Albert Lee.
Okay.
It's a little like it'd make a very shallow triangle. It's a little north of both of those places, but that's how far north or how far south it is.
Okay.
West Lutheran is the other team in the Class A championship. Do you know where West Lutheran is?
I'm going to get, based on the way you're describing it or setting it up, I feel like it's somewhere super close. Is it in Albert Lee?
No, it's not. It's in Plymouth.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
But you can take the hint here. Southland was a team that Sebeka played in the consolation semifinal. Where do you think Southland is?
Well, I'm going to guess south, but I'm going to say it's southeast. Is it like kind of in the Rochester area?
It is. It's closer to Austin. It's southeast of Austin, on the highway between Austin on your way to Leroy, as in Leroy Ostrander.
Okay.
So it's almost to Iowa. It's like the next town south is an Iowa town.
They barely end up being on the good side.
Southland and United South Central are only about an hour apart.
Okay.
Anyway, I just think that kind of stuff is fun to look at that, and I knew USC was in Wells. I couldn't remember. I didn't know Southland was in Adams, but I knew it was in that like Section 1 region. I've never heard of West Lutheran before.
I tell you what, you can quiz me on United North Central if you want.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's go. You know what? There is no United Mid Central. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Who would
North Central?
Who would that be? Would it just be like what if Ricori wanted to rebrand?
Yeah, that's a good. Maybe like the St. Cloud schools are all. All right, that's all I had to say. I just wanted to see if you
decided they were going to combine with Long Prairie for everything, and that would probably be it.
That'd probably be a great one.
That would work. Except here's the thing, and I know it's internet slang, and I know it's ever changing. But you really can't. What?
They're already Prairie Center.
That's true. But if you do a full rebrand or co-op or whatever you want to call it,
yep,
that would be the move. But you just probably don't want to have mid in your name.
Maybe not. Should we make a lot of schools mad and have a day on the morning sports desk where we go, these are the schools that should actually be co-oping.
Yeah, sure. And then we'll come up with logos. We'll come up with like an actual uniform scheme. Yeah.
Exactly. Would that be fun? Yeah. Why are these towns playing separately? They should be together for everything always. They should probably consolidate.
Yeah. Get ready, Browerville. Get ready, actually. Yeah, let's go. Browerville, Bertha Hewitt, Verndale. Congratulations. You're now Todd County Central, even though Verndale's in Wadena County.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, get ready to piss off some locals.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's the landscape of things. I do really like the state softball tournament because, like you said, it's just a vibe. It's serious. It's the state tournament, but also like you're just out at the ballpark having a good day. And there's this thing about softball. I told you and Zeke this yesterday. I kind of relate it to hockey in a way. There's so many travel. There's so many tournaments. There's so many things where you spend so much time with your teammates. If you're a player, as a coach, maybe you're not always coaching all the summer league teams, but you're probably coaching a decent amount of them. And if you're parents, you end up traveling with all these parents and going to hotels and spending the weekend together. And when I was at my hotel in Mankato, when I got to my hotel after the first round of games on Tuesday night, there was a group of Dilworth Glendon Felton fans who were at my hotel, and they just were in lawn chairs sitting by the trunks of their cars, just chatting because it was a beautiful night, just chatting in the parking lot. I left to go get some food. I was gone for like an hour and a half. I came back and they were there for a long time after I went into the parking lot, just vibing and just having a good time. No, I don't want to make that assessment. I didn't look at it that hard.
No, by the way, I don't mean that judgmentally. That's some of the.
I wouldn't, if they were flowing, I certainly wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Beer was flowing like wine. I don't doubt it.
It's a 1 versus 6 in the Class A championship. By the way,
yeah,
it's a 1 versus 6 in the 2A championship. It's a 2v5 in the 3A championship and a 1-3 in the 4A.
Call it June Madness.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And it's just fun seeing everybody run around and doing all that stuff. And it's great. And shout out to the state softball tournament. Shout out to Mills and Sebeka for letting me go down there for a couple days. And
no doubt.
Gosh darn it, Corey, even though they both lost, I was trying to find some justification for me to stick around in Mankato an extra day and just enjoy the state softball tournament, but also just to give myself another day of not having to come into work. But you know what?
Let's give our buddy Logan Vio from Hubbard Radio in Brainerd a special shout out.
By the way,
these are not, yeah, right, exactly. These are not the easiest. This is not the easiest sort of broadcast. It is not our preferred way to broadcast very important games, but the fact that we're able to do the games this way and get these games on the air in the very best way that we can make it work. It wouldn't have worked without Logan's help and being a little creative. So I just want to give him some credit. I want to give you and Logan both some credit. Those are neat broadcasts. I don't think we've even done it a half a dozen times yet. We haven't had to do it very often, but I love that we are able to kind of make broadcasts like this happen for special occasions.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Logan. He does a great job. This is my first time. I've heard a bunch of great things about what he does over in Brainerd, being the voice of the Warriors for multiple sports, by the way. And this was the first time I got to sit and listen to him because I'm keeping book for the other game while I'm not calling it, but I'm also listening to him waiting for my turn. I go talk, and then he goes talk, and I go, oh, it's almost my turn. But in the process of waiting for that, he does a really good job. And shout out to him. He did a great job covering the Brainerd Warriors. They also lost their first 2 games. They got the 8th seed. They got matched up with Forest Lake. Forest Lake's playing some very important games this time of year. They're a pretty good softball program. And for him to get to go down there and do it and help us out is awesome because we are Corey and I we had some long conversations about like, what do we do? What's the plan? And none of them sounded fun in terms of just logistics. Like there were going to be a lot of headaches on our end, and Logan made it so much easier to get those games on the air and to get them going. And shout out him. And by the way, not shout out the Twins for making things very difficult for us to get some stuff out on the air. So they decide, by the way, to go on their longest stretch of the season without an off day during our 2 busiest weeks of the spring. Like, come on, guys. Like, I understand you got to do what you got to do. It's out of your control. But we're playing a schedule like this so you can host Banana Ball later in the season. I don't need to hear that. Anyway, so shout out softball, shout out Logan. Everybody did a great job. And it was cool. All right, let's wrap things up, Corey, by talking a little section baseball. Just to catch everybody up, I did the Parker's Prairie, Brandon Evansville game on Monday afternoon in Minnewaska. I love Marthaler Field. It is a great venue. Unfortunately, the drone broke in the process of
lame
lines. So yeah, they got it fixed though for the next day. But either way, they had to do it the old-fashioned way and just do it with a good old-fashioned man-made chalk lines. And it was a 1-0 victory for Brandon Evansville. They have a pitcher that just stood on their head. He's a good pitcher. Talking with Coach Denny, he's like, we've seen him in Legion. We've seen him in summer ball. You know, they didn't get a chance to face them in the regular season, but, you know, he just stood on his head. And in college, or in high school baseball, I should say, you end up getting in a spot. It's just like I talk about it all the time in college hockey. You know, if you just have a goalie that stands on his head, it's like good. You just tip your cap and go, good game. Like, there's just nothing much you can do. You can't win if you can't score. By the way, Trevor Rounds, and by the way, Woodworth, who pitched in the second game for Parker's Prairie, they pitched 14 innings. They gave up 0 earned runs. The 2 runs that they gave up combined, by the way, 1 run in each game, were unearned, and they lose both games 1-0. And that's just, you know, it's like, what do? You're facing good pitching. You did also a great job of pitching. Parker's Prairie, at least on Monday's game, they had 8 guys on base. They just couldn't get a guy home. And it's that thing of, we talk about, you get yourself in position, but it's also easier said than done to just get that big hit to knock somebody in. And, you know, shout out Parker's Prairie. They were undefeated going into that stretch, and just 2 absolutely heartbreaking ways to lose. And you know what? I know that they're devastated over there, but I also know that they're going to be right back again next year, and they're going to be playing a ton of summer ball, and they're going to be doing a ton of stuff in Legion. I know that they wanted to win the section and get back to state, but those guys are going to be back at it. They're a great program. And unfortunately, they lose to some pretty good teams in Brandon Evansville that, by the way, is not going anywhere. They only have like 1 or 2 seniors on that team. They have a lot of juniors and sophomores. They're not going away. BBE is always a good program. They're not going away. And there's some other teams in the mix there as well. So that's your Section 6A update. Over into Section 5A, Corey, I know you did New York Mills and Mille Lacs earlier in the week, and Mills got the victory there. And then Sebeka coming their way through the elimination bracket. They knock down Mille Lacs. They get an opportunity to take on New York Mills, and ultimately the Eagles punch their ticket to state.
Yeah, punch their ticket. Sebeka, though, man, oh man, they absolutely boat raced Mille Lacs in before taking on New York Mills, 23-0. Just put it absolutely to them, and then jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the section championship game. Trojans needed to win that one. If they would have won, that game would be played this evening. But alas, it ends up going New York Mills' way. They win in extras 5-4. That was tied up at New York Mills scored 3 in the 6th. They scored another in the 7th to tie it up at 4 apiece. And then they get a walk-off winner in the 9th. Colson Lofgren, I know, pitched a complete game in that one. And the New York Mills Eagles, everything you said about Parker's Prairie and their program and that baseball applies to the New York Mills Eagles. So I don't need to repeat anything there. Just that the Eagles' long-standing reservation at the Class A state baseball tournament, they get to go again.
Just what a spring for New York Mills, winning Section 6A in softball, 5A in baseball. That's a town that loves to be on the diamond, and they're going to see a lot more of it come up next week. So congratulations to them. We are going to be there at Dick Putz and Joe Faber Fields in St. Cloud next week. We'll only cover one team. They're the lone team in our region that is going to the state tournament.
Yellow Jackets will be there. Perm Yellow Jackets are your AA champs, but we'll stick with New York Mills.
Exactly. Yeah. Perham, again, if we talk about teams that have reservations down at the state tournament.
Exactly.
Perham, pretty darn good. Shout out to Otter Tail Central. They were one game away from getting to that section title game. They fought their way through the elimination bracket, getting wins over Monaga and Thief River Falls and setting up a matchup with East Grand Forks, and ultimately just couldn't quite come out on top. And then East Grand Forks falls to Perham in the first of potentially 2 games in that section title game. So the Yellow Jackets going back to state. And then, of course, we have the New York Mills Eagles. So really good baseball in this area once again continues to flex itself. And, again, if we look at the Section 6A tournament, I know that Wadena Deer Creek and Staples Motley, their seasons came to a close throughout this stretch. And now we just kind of put our sights on what that championship game looks like. And that is being played this afternoon. St. Cloud Cathedral, the top seed, taking on the 6th seeded Foley Falcons. Now, these two teams met in the semifinal, and Cathedral blanked the Falcons 5-0. And now we'll see if the Crusaders can bounce, or I should say, kind of double down and win. We'll see if Foley can bounce back. 1 o'clock, and then if they need a winner-take-all game, they'll play it basically immediately after at Dick Putz Field. But if we want to talk again about teams that have reservations at the state baseball tournament, Cathedral, certainly one of them.
They don't have reservations. They get to sleep at their house.
They don't take a bus ride. They just meet at the ballpark.
Correct. Their home field. I was talking to some folks in Piers when I was there earlier for the 5A tournament and asked about Cathedral and because they've just been awesome all year long, obviously, as they usually are. And I go, all right, what's the story with Cathedral this year? And both gentlemen who are lifelong Piers fans go, they never, and I mean never ever, mess up. And he's like, it's jarring actually to watch them because like they never throw to the wrong base. When it's time to hit a cutoff, they hit the cutoff. If it's time to throw through the cutoff, they throw through the cutoff. If it's a slow roller, they don't like try to barehand it and make a miracle play. They field it like he's like they never ever screw up ever. And then obviously they're 1 through 9, they're all going to put the ball in play, but it's jarring. He's like it's jarring to watch a high school team just full of kids who like mentally and physically are with it on every single pitch. That is a near impossibility.
Kind of like the AA version, like the modern version of that Parker's Prairie team that won it back in 17, right?
Whatever year it was, yeah.
18, yeah, but it's kind of like that where it's like, gosh darn it, like they just don't mess up and they never give you any air to come back. And if they get up early on you, like they're never going to, like you're going to have to make a play because they're not going to give you an opportunity.
Yeah, and then if you throw a fastball to their 9-hitter, Hunter McDaniel, he's going to ping it off the wall at the mini-met, and you're like, well, he's the 9-hitter. I thought this was supposed to be easy. Wrong. It's not.
Wrong you are. By the way, shout out to state softball, by the way. And one last thing I want to say, because I was talking with Coach Lilquist about this with Sebeka's first-round game that they had against United South Central. The pitcher they have on the mound in Mariah Anderson is really, really good. And I was talking with Coach Lilquist about that, and he's like, she throws in the 60s. And he's like, that's a baseball equivalent of throwing in the mid-80s. Like, she's pretty darn good. Over 1,300 career strikeouts. And
might be a year old, by the way. Like, she's
broke the record, basically.
She's got to be near 2,000 strikeouts.
Exactly. She's got a lot of them. A lot of them. And I can't remember. I was talking with Coach Lilquist, and I just kind of asked him off the cuff, like, is she going to play anywhere next year? And of course, going to go play in the NSIC, I think, for either Mankato or Winona. So
nice.
Those are two schools that know how to play softball a little bit.
So not Mankato. I think we can both agree. Screw Mankato.
Oh yeah, the Purple Cows. Yeah. I get my wife gets mad at me if I do this in any other context but this. So horns down, baby. Yeah. There's that like meme where the guy is like in the supermarket and there's like a kid in a Texas Longhorn shirt in like sitting in the grocery cart like in the little kiddie one, and he's just like looking at this kid who's got like this like kind of face, and he's just like the camera in the foreground just has him doing this to him.
Yeah.
I did my own version where like I just scribble out the Texas shirt and just put the Mankato logo on there, and it's just that's what it is. Mankato thinks they're so good at everything. Oh, Glenn Taylor gives us endless bags of money. We can do whatever we want.
The only difference between me and you is not our dislike for Mankato, but I will also do it for NDSU.
Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. See ya.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.